Hello everyone, welcome to this part two of our highly interesting episode. And I know you all were enjoying a lot the discussion on the digital age, digital era, and its impact on the physiological, the mental, and the emotional well-being. So in part one, we discussed about so many pointers that how does it affect our mental health? What are the benefits of digital era? And today we are going to continue that discussion forward. Today we are going to discuss a lot about the cyberbullying and other aspects. So stay tuned. Today, in today's episode, there are going to be so many interesting questions and so much of discussions and going to ahead. So again, I'm welcoming Sanika for this continued discussion in part two. Okay, so hello everyone. We know that you all are excited to listen to this part two because the part one was equally highly interesting and exciting. And in part two, we are going to discuss some little heavy and difficult questions definitely to Sanika. Because in part two, we are going to understand more about the mental and emotional health issues. So, Sanika, I am directly coming to you. And my straight question, which is coming first to start this discussion, is it's all about the cyberbullying because the cyberbullying and online harassment, these are the two important things which are growing at a faster pace if we talk about the digital era.
Yeah,
So what is your perspective about these experiences of cyberbullying and online harassment, and how these kinds of things are affecting the mental well-being of anyone and everyone who are just dealing with them? And can you suggest that what is going around it?
yeah. So about cyberbullying, I definitely believe that it's a really prevalent issue right now because all of us are online in some way or the other. Everybody has a social account, everybody is on social media, and all of our information is mostly public. If I'm on Instagram right now, then definitely somebody can message me, somebody else can follow me, somebody else can see my posts. So even as a teenager, as a minor, this is a really scary issue. That somebody might harass me online, somebody might threaten me online. This is definitely not good. So, most of the children or most teenagers or minors or even adults from 18 to 25, they feel like they're not good enough and they're confused as to what to do. Should we not share them with our parents? Should we not share it with the police? Or will it become a big issue? Because most of us are threatened by the police also. If I share my information with the police, will it become a big issue? Will
Hmm.
society look down on me? Like what is going on with this person? And this person is not good enough for the society. It
Hmm.
leads to some more serious concerns also. And a lot of times, because a person is bullied online, they commit suicide because all of that harassment becomes so stressful for them. They get really tired and really exhausted, and then they feel like they are not good enough because they were never educated to deal with this matter. In schools we learn all about mitochondria, but we are not taught about how to deal with cyber bullies online. What should I do if somebody is threatening me online? Should I tell my parents? Should I tell the police? What should I do? So this adds to the pressure which they already have from home also, or if they're preparing for some exams, then from there also, and this keeps them up at night. And then this adds more to the stress levels, to their exhaustion. This eventually leads to a lot of people reaching out to people outside their home. I
Hmm.
might ask my friend what to do, and then my friend is also not very educated with this. They'll give me the wrong advice, and then I'll fall into the trap of cyberbullying.
Yes.
So a lot of platforms are now trying really hard to do what a lot of people or what a lot of us are trying, what a lot of us are asking them to do. So
Hmm.
recently, I think Facebook funded a tool online which is called Take It Down. I recently read an article about it. It's called Take It Down, and it's operated by the National Center for Missing Children and Exploited Children. What they basically do is, if there's any explicit content which is related to you, and it's posted online and you would like it to be taken down. So as a teenager or as a minor, you can use that tool in order to take down whatever pictures or whatever explicit content is related to you. So
Okay.
I believe these are really good measures which platforms are taking in order to make sure that all of us are safe online. And
Hmm.
the whole digital age becomes a good age for us to learn new things instead of becoming a place for cyberbullying.
Hmm. Very true. You are rightly mentioning that Definitely we need to take the advantage of the social media and online platforms, but yet at the same time there should be enough education for the children so that they can understand that what are the cons of it, or how we can just say what happens when we buy any kind of machine. So there comes now a troubleshooting guide. So
Yeah.
with that online handling also, I believe there should be some troubleshooting guides, or there could be definitely some educative sessions where the student can understand. They cannot be devoid of these social media. They definitely need to handle. But what is the wise way of handling? That is very important, which you are mentioning. That's a very good point which you have bring about. But one more phenomena which is very commonly seen among the teenagers, in fact, I would say that the FOMO, which you also mentioned in part one, that they feel that there is a constant need. They need to be stay connected to someone, and if somebody is not replying to their post or their picture, so they are feeling that there is a fear, there is a FOMO. It's a very common word nowadays. So, how this FOMO is affecting the mental being? Do you feel that FOMO can affect the mental well being? And if yes, then how the teenagers, means you are also a teenager, so how the teenagers can address such kind of things?
Yeah, as somebody who's also on social media as a teenager, I definitely feel like FOMO is something. I mean, I personally experienced it. Every time I look at somebody who's gone to a party outside or a trip outside, I think, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm at home all day. I'm studying all day. What am I doing? So, this digital connection which we have, it's not positively correlated with bad technology, but it's because as youth we are not inculcating good habits. When we go online, we're not thinking, okay, I have to do the same thing which this person is doing. Whenever you go online and see somebody, supposing I go to Goa tomorrow and then I post pictures of the sunset or of the beach, then everyone will think, oh, she's having a great time there. But the backstory could be that I went there on a budget of 100 rupees and then I couldn't have food there, or there could be some backstory about it. But I won't post the negative stuff online. I'll only post the positive things. So as teenagers, I think that we should know that to every post which is online, there is a backstory. There is some negative side which the person is not showing us, because who would want to see something negative online? So if you feel like doing something today, then make a list of everything you want to do in the next year and then do it at your own time. Don't go online and then see somebody doing a third thing and then feel like, okay, I also want to do this thing. I'll do this thing tomorrow now. I have to do this. And then you're also pestering the people around you. You're telling your friends, okay, now tomorrow we have to go to a party. You're telling your parents, now give me money for this. You might not even want to go to a party. Because you saw somebody else doing it, you feel like doing it. So instead of that, make a list of everything you genuinely want to do and try to do that instead of getting influenced by the people online.
Same thing, I think we are coming back to the same point which you mentioned in the part one, that there is a need to look inwards. How long you will keep on looking outwards? So that's the same point I think you are mentioning so rightly here. One more concern which is coming nowadays, Anika, and that is about the virtual reality. The people with the digital age, it's okay, but now there is all about virtual reality, and nobody knows what is the extent of this virtual reality. That nobody can predict now at this point of time. So what is your perception about this, about the virtual reality? And do you think, because whenever we are going, there are thousands of games which are based on this virtual reality, so do you think that this phenomena as well is affecting, rather than being in an actual realistic situations, the people who are seeing a lot of virtual realities stuff? So do you also think that this is also somewhere related to the mental health, and maybe the behavioral patterns could be changing?
Definitely. So as a teenager, I play a few games. So I definitely see all this virtual reality coming in. And then those games which have all these new technologies integrated, like AR, VR, augmented reality, those are definitely more interesting than the normal 2D ones. So I think recently, in 2020, because of the lockdown, they couldn't really the those who were passing out from 2020, from the batch of 2020, they couldn't have their regular convocation. They couldn't get their degree through a normal convocation. So in IIT Bombay in 2020, they hosted a completely augmented reality based convocation where
Hmm.
each and every student was made into an avatar. And then they made the whole student body come in, and even the chief guest was turned into an avatar. So that is such an interesting implication, and that shook the world, because now everyone thinks, okay, Even weddings are done by AR VR. Somebody in India marrying somebody in America during the lockdown. So that shook the world. The implications for this are so vast. So in a few years, no, I believe that students might not even have to go to school every day. They might go to school a few days in a week. After in a lot of generations, and then it could be completely online. Everything would be completely online. The teacher would see the avatar of the student instead of seeing the actual student through AR and VR. So even companies like Meta are working on this right now, which is really interesting because in my generation, we might not be able to use all of this right now. But in a few years, definitely, I believe that the progress towards technology in this digital way will be so vast that people might not even have to leave their desks. So when it comes to the stress, I believe have not even leaving your desk every day to go to school or not even leaving your desk to go to work, you're staying in the same location the whole day and then you're seeing the same sights around you, so you might not be able to differentiate what is reality and what the difference between what is virtual reality and your real reality. So
Mm.
you get absorbed into that different world, you integrate it into your life as such that you don't know the difference between, even those who play video games, they sometimes don't know the difference between the violence in the video games versus what is actually going on at home.
Mm.
So I believe that is an implication.
But Sanika, here, it's good. It's good and it's heartening to listen that and see definitely which the IIT incident you are quoting that I also seen that incident. That's pretty good. But do you also feel that if everyone would be connected, so how the emotions would be there? Means I'm not able to, maybe I'm from the different thought of school, maybe you guys are from a different thought of school, but still the human connect when the people meet each other, that vibrations, that emotional connect. So do you think that if this many virtual VR and augmented reality, these platforms would be there, so there would be very less emotional connects between the people, because I'm not able to judge the your emotional vibrations and everything. The teachers are not seeing the students, actually avatar is avatar.
Yeah, definitely. Even in 2020 and 2021, when our schools were online, I couldn't connect with the teacher as much. I hardly talked to the teacher, and it was absolutely impossible to make friends. I mean, only those who were already friends with me, they were the only ones I had. I think those who changed their school in that time didn't make any friends at all because there's no connect. I couldn't talk to that person as much as I wanted. I couldn't understand what that person is thinking.
True.
In offline school or in offline classes, I can judge what the person is thinking even if he's just sitting next to me and not saying anything because I can feel that. So I definitely think the as an avatar, it would be difficult to gauge what emotions the person is thinking.
True, true. Okay, now I'm what I'll say, I'll just bombard you with a very personal question now. You can think it from your perspective. Nowadays, there is a lot of digitalization, social media, and blah blah blah, many things. And now what happens? The parents, they keep on telling their children that reduce your screen time, because after COVID, definitely there are certain moments when the screen time has to be increased. But yes, in any ways, the kids are also in front of the screen most of the time. So, what do you think? What could be the strategies so that these kind of so much screen time could be reduced? And like we tell always, na, ki there should be healthy eating. So, what could be healthy digital habits, especially for the youngsters?
I think that's a really interesting question. Healthy habits for digitalization. I think one of the main components is to not give a smartphone to a very young child. I've seen even really young children, even babies right now, with a smartphone just because it keeps them occupied. And inculcating habits such as like reading or even finding hobbies outside your smartphone. Playing games is not the only hobby you can have. You can paint, you can do other things. Digital art is also a really big thing coming up right now. But that is not the only thing that you can do. You can use color pencils. You can do something outside of a device also. Even when I go to birthday parties right now, people my age are sitting in a row and everybody is on their phones.
Yes.
Everybody's talking to each other, but they're still on their phones. So, we're missing that connect right now. And this is all because we haven't been inculcating the right habits at the right age. On weekends it's possible for us to only use devices for homework or only for the scheduled time that we actually need them. If you don't need a device, don't go on your device. Don't
Mhm.
have a break, as don't use this as a break. If you're taking a break, then go outside for a walk. Find something within yourself, or otherwise just look outside a window, look outside and look at what's going on. Don't look at a device, don't look at a video which is already posted online. Because when you're looking outside, there's tens of thousands of thoughts in your mind, and then you can think about that, you can think creatively, or you might something new might strike you about the work that you're doing. If you're on your phone, then there's no creativity. You're blindly looking at a screen on videos and whatever is going on, or you're blindly scrolling. And then even if it's positive, even then it's not bringing about creativity in you. And if it's negative, then of course the violence is going to affect you.
True, true.
So curbing that is really important.
So whatever you are telling, I can just pick up one word from that, that connect with the nature. The things which are continuously changing naturally, seeing those things, seeing a flower to bloom, seeing a tree to grow, and seeing the birds to sing, these things actually inculcate a lot of positive things inside the brain. And it is actually needed for the proper development of the human brain, because that is in that way we all human beings have been designed and have been programmed. But yes, now I'm coming to a different kind of questions. We all have seen the COVID duration. We all have seen the work from homes condition, the online education. And what happens in such kind of scenario earlier, if I talk about school education, earlier the school time used to be just maybe 7 to 12 or 8 to 2 or something like that, 7 to 8 hours. But now what is happening, because of this online, definitely I'll not telling that it is good or bad, I'm just coming out with one point. Because of this online accessibility, now there is no working hours. Anytime, if I tell about the school scenario, if the teachers feel they can connect with the students, or if I talk about the corporate culture, the work scenario, anytime the meetings can be called, the people are always, nowadays the people are using this word that I'm 24/7 available for the work. So do you think that this kind of shifts in the working patterns, they are also affecting, or they are also creating some kinds of psychological disturbances, and how the people can understand that what is actually a work life balance from a student perspective, and definitely from a working professional perspective? Though you are so young, but still I want to ask this.
Yeah, so I believe that there's no work-life balance now, because even when I come home, some classes could be scheduled online, and then there's this time when everyone thinks that okay, now I'm going to go out and play with my friends, which is from around 7 to 8 for teenagers in the evening. Even then, a lot of times our teachers schedule classes, and then from 6 to 9 we're preoccupied with classes which are still online. So
Hmm.
even after I come home, I still have to do the work and I have to do it online. So there's no exact work hours anymore. Even my father, who works in the corporate side, even he has calls at 11 o'clock at night, even on Saturdays, just because somebody online who's in America or in UK, they have their morning hours at that time. So those meetings are scheduled basis on the international basis, and then he has no work life balance then. So so even as students or as people who are working in the corporate, we're expected to be working all day, and then that not only affects what we are doing, our creativity, it also affects our eyes, because every time you're looking at the same screen, and it also affects our sleep patterns, because you don't have an exact work schedule anymore. You're looking at the screen anytime, and it becomes hard to even concentrate on the meeting which is in front of you. Even it even causes headaches. A lot of people in my class were complaining that they were experiencing headaches because our classes were almost 7 hours online with a short 15-minute break in between. So it affects your eyes, it affects your head. It
No.
feels like you're working all the time, and the kind of stress and exhaustion which you have is really difficult to cope with.
Hmm.
I think one of the ways you can try to cope with this is through digital detox. You can find 2 hours, not during the class, but later or before, when you're not using your phone at all. And at that time, you can try to pursue your interests. If you try to find some peace within yourself, even if you're taking a 15-minute break in between, close your eyes and just sit down, like in kind of meditation, so that you're just with yourself, you're just in the moment, and you're not with a screen, you're not with the work, you're just giving a uh, calm time to your brain.
Wonderful. And if there is a long podcast, then divide it into two parts.
Definitely.
Good, good. I'm happy to listen the word meditation from the youngsters side, because it's really heartening to listen that you people are using this word. That's very good. One more point, one more direct question. When we are discussing lots of psychological issues, lots of mental health issues. But do you also think that this digital age is having any impact or is having any correlation with other mental health conditions? I'm specifically quoting the mental health condition here, that depression, anxiety, or any kind of addiction. Do you think it has some correlation with that?
Definitely. Every time, whenever your phone is, even when your phone is turned off, you can feel that it's vibrating. Or as soon as there's a ting of notification, your first reaction is to turn to the mobile. We've become so addicted to this sound. Even when you're outside and you listen to somebody else's notification, you turn to your own phone because you're hoping for a message. Every time you turn your phone on, you're hoping for a new like on your post. You're hoping for some, because it increases your self-esteem. So if somebody is liking your post, if somebody is sending you a message, somebody is getting connected to you, then it increases your self-esteem that, oh, somebody wants to talk to me. And then that urge to have that positivity in your life, which is not really positivity, but it makes you feel like that's what's making you happy. It gives you a short reward every time you open your phone. So, even if you're reading about somebody else's thoughts online, if you're reading about somebody else's suicidal thoughts, or on somebody else's violence going on at home, or if somebody is right now, there was a war between Ukraine and Russia. So even those who were affected in Ukraine were posting some really violent things online, and even those in Russia. So reading those thoughts online would make you think that there's such negativity in the world that it would lower your self-esteem. It would make you get into depression, or it would increase your own anxiety. And as you had mentioned in the earlier podcast, if you're not getting messages every 10 seconds, then it's going to increase your anxiety. Why doesn't anybody want to talk to me? Why doesn't anybody want to like my post?
True.
So it is especially affecting girls because whenever they see somebody else's figures online, and then some other celebrities figure online, and right now a zero figure is coming into the world, where somebody is so thin that it's called a zero figure. Somebody is so thin that it's not really fit, but they're so thin that it affects all the other girls, that, oh, why am I not that thin? I should also get that thin. And then it puts you into depression, it puts you into anxiety. It constantly makes you feel like you're not enough. You have to turn into somebody else. You have to become somebody better. And about addiction is a huge issue right now. Getting addicted to your phone is a huge issue. Even when I'm going to my classes every day, I see it even when the teacher is teaching in front of you and he's not looking at you. You turn your phone on, you have your phone beside your notebook, and then you're constantly looking at your text messages, even if you're trying to study and there's a notification from your friend. The first thing you do is open it. And this has become a blind thing. This has become an autopilot thing. You're not even thinking before you check that message. You're not even thinking before you reply. So smartphone addiction has become a huge thing. Even sometimes when I make a meal every day, if I'm having food every day, I can't start eating that food without having some series in front of me, without having something in front of me on the TV. It's difficult to start eating your food without having some series in front of you. So I definitely think addiction has become a huge problem for us. But it's also not our teenagers' fault to an extent,
Hmm.
because uh, because we had to be exposed to online natures right now
True.
during the lockdown. We become so used to seeing that screen that having it removed from front of us has become really difficult. So I think digital detox would be useful for that.
True, true, Sanika. And you are, what is the best part in this discussion, that you are telling everything. I'll not say whatever point she is mentioning, that she's telling only from her behalf. I believe she's telling everything on the behalf of each and every student and each and every teenager or the youngsters who all are going through such kind of phases. Even I see at my home such kind of things keeps on happening. It's very difficult. Like the point which you mentioned, it's important to see any kind of series in front of when you are having your any meal. Definitely, as if that meal, as if that series is working as your digestive juice or gastric juice, and it will help you in the digestion of food. That kind of phenomena is happening with the kids, and which is definitely it's true. But here we have discussed so many points related to this, so many pros and cons, definitely. And one thing is also sure that we cannot move away from this digital era. We have to use the technology because technology is for us. So that is, there is no doubt in that, that we have to learn how to use the technology. It's a tool which has been given to us. But the very important question is, we cannot deny that we are living in the digital era. That's undeniable question here. So how living in that pool, living in that environment, living in that surroundings, how can every person and the people together, the families, the corporates, the companies, the educational institution, and as a whole, we all can protect first ourselves and then to the entire planet. I'm talking in terms of entire humanity, entire civilization, because it's not you and me or the other person is getting affected. It's highly contagious. Whenever we talk about any kind of condition, whether it's positive or negative, it's contagious. So if one person is getting affected, certainly other will also get affected. So what we can do in such kind of situation, we have to live here and we have to protect ourselves. So any things which comes to your mind?
Yeah. So, one of the things which I think we really have to do moving forward in the digital area is be aware of how much we're using our devices. Whenever we're blindly opening our phone, we don't even know how long we're using our phone for. We think, okay, I'll just send one text message and I'll be done. But then you're doing that 10 times a day, 20 times a day, and then it's taking up so much of your time. Then whenever you're taking a break, you think you're using your phone for 10 minutes, but that break turns into 2 hours when you're moving through YouTube Shorts. I think it's
Hmm.
impossible to just watch one reel, just watch one video and be done with it. The second one, the third one, especially if it's on autoplay, then you are done. Then at least 2 hours of your day has already been eaten up by just your break. So you also need to know what you're doing online. You think that you're working on your phone, you think that you're doing whatever work is assigned to you using your technology. But then you also have Twitter or Reddit or something else open at the side, which you're using just for time pass. Just to look at, just to spend your time, just not even to, it's not even productive work. You're not even doing something with 100% of your concentration. So it also causes attention deficiency because it becomes difficult to concentrate on one task at a time.
True.
You also need to check on how much you're using your phone every week, and then you'll realize how big a part of your life this technology has actually become. In that way, you can compare yourself to compare the time you're using on the devices to how much you're doing outside. How much of your time in a week did you spend on yourself? Did you meditate every day? Did you spend it in talking to the people around you and talking to your relatives? And how much of that time did you spend on your physical health or on your emotional well-being? Did you think about fitness? Did you think about everything else? And did you actually invest that time in your health? I believe that every day when we wake up, the first thing we do is turn on our phone and then check that screen. And the last thing we do before going to sleep is also check our phones. So it becomes such a big part of our lives that we live and that we go to sleep and we wake up to the screen. So making sure that the last thing you see before going to sleep is not your screen is one of the most important things to do. And then in using that time into your personal habits, whatever habits you would like to inculcate. Like I believe there's this podcaster who was a neurologist. His name is Andrew Huberman. And
Hmm.
then what he said was every day when you wake up, the first thing you should do is go out to your balcony or go out to a window and look outside and let that sunlight enter your eyes. Don't let the light from your devices enter your eyes. So all of these devices are a boon. This digital age is such a boon to us. There's so much information available online. You can learn whatever you want to learn. You can upskill. Even if you're an engineer, you can learn about medicine. You can learn about anything you want. So if we use this technology wisely and correctly, then we don't have to make it a bane. It will remain a boon. So that's what I believe.
Very rightly, Sanika, and I believe you have concluded the entire episode beautifully, that it's a technology and we have to use the technology. There is no question about it. But yet at the same time, we have to be aware. So, only one point which you have mentioned, which you have elaborated so beautifully, that awareness is the key for anything and everything. If I'm not aware what is going wrong, what I'll do to correct it? So first of all, I should know that there is something which I need to correct. Then only I reach to the people. Then only I reach to, maybe I seek some help from others, that how they can help me basically. But first and foremost thing which you have rightly mentioned is nothing but the awareness. I should be aware that I am falling into a trap of something and I need to come out of it. So rightly mentioned. And thank you so much, Hanika, because that was a long discussion. That was a eye-opening discussion for many students. You have given so many beautiful insights, and one point which I would like to reiterate again and again, that connect with the nature. The more and more you connect with the nature, you will see there will be lot of improvement, not only in your physical health, but also in your concentration, your cognitive abilities. You will be more focused, you will be more advanced in your innovative abilities, more creative thinking will advance in yours. So that's a beautiful point, Sanika, and it was good to have such a long discussion with you, which
Thank
definitely
you.
we are posting in two parts. So it's now I can tell to everyone that whatever you have listened, I believe you cannot understand this entire discussion in one go. So you'll have to watch it again and again so that you can understand what all points she has made it here. And if you also feel that you want to discuss anything on this podcast, like Sanika, and share your thoughts, share your views, so you can write to us. All the details are in the description. Thank you, Sanika. Thanks a lot for this wonderful discussion today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bansal.